Hey, what's up guys? So I got something really exciting to show you today. So there's about to be a really big advancement in the world of AI programming. So CAM Assist by CloudNC is about to get a huge facelift and a lot of added functionality. That's actually really exciting. So today I want to take you guys through that and show you what this looks like in CAM Assist 2.0. So here's a fixture that I'm building for an upcoming job. And as you can see, I've created two machine groups. And I'm going to machine this backside first. If we see, I've got my fixture pulled in, I've got my stock. So this is going to be setup 1. And then my machine group 2, I'm going to flip this over, hold it on this bottom, and machine all the stuff on the second side. So let's open up CAM Assist and start going through the new interface. So if I go to my CAM Assist button, now the first thing you'll see is that we have a whole new interface. Now this is awesome because now this is standardized across all CAM software. So everyone is going to see the same exact interface no matter what CAM software you're using. Now one thing that's exciting about CAM Assist 2.0 is that we have a lot more control as the programmer than we had before. So stick with me throughout this video because I'm going to show you some of these features that put that control back in your hands. Now, right off the bat here, I can see that here's my setup. I can change between machine group 1, machine group 2, however many machine groups I have set up here. I can toggle visibility. So if I want to turn my stock off or turn it on, I don't have it in my machine group 2, so let me go back to 1. So there's my stock. I can turn this off if I want. I can show both machine groups. Like I said, I can turn my stock to transparent. I can turn my work holding off if I want to. So just a quick little view there. But more importantly, what's happening on this page is CAM Assist is going to basically analyze your part right from the start. So what it's going to do is it's going to analyze the setup and see if there's anything that it can't machine. And you're going to see that in this dialog here. So with this particular setup, we see that we have no issues detected, and we see this green circle here. Now we might see that change to yellow or red if it's finding things that it's going to have a problem with. Now this is really cool because, you know, things like if my stock, if I didn't leave any stock on this top face or the bottom face, whatever, it's going to flag that and say, hey, there's no stock there. It's not going to make you stop. You can still proceed with it, but it's a way of quickly analyzing things for problems that maybe you want to fix before you start moving on. So I thought that was really neat. Another thing was we can come here, we can change the mode, the unit system from inch to metric. There's a light and a dark mode, which I really like. As you can see, I'm using dark mode, as everybody should. But another thing down here that's really new, I find is really nice, is we have what they call My Shop. And in here we have your machines, your materials, your tool libraries, and you can even import new shop configurations, which is tool libraries from previous jobs that you've already done. So if I kind of quickly go through these, I want to show you how, if we go to My Machines, right off the bat, I can see that I can add a machine, which is adding this to a cloud library. And this is really nice because everybody in your organization can now share the same machines and the same tool libraries, materials, and all of that. So you don't have to have individual machines on everybody's system if you've got multiple programmers in your shop. Now, whenever you download CAM Assist, it typically comes with some generic machines and generic tool libraries and things like that. And that's what you're seeing right here. So it's kind of defaulted to my session machine, so the machine that I have loaded in my CAM software. And you see it's pulling in the information of that machine. But, you know, if I didn't have a machine, you know, some people are using generic machines. We can actually select one of these that have different settings. You know, they have one that's low speed and low power. As you can see, it has 8,000 RPMs, 16 horsepower, 48 foot-pounds of torque. You know, not a very strong machine. Or I can go up here to a high-speed, high-power machine that is a lot beefier, right? So you'll get a different output as far as feeds and speeds if you're using that physics-based feeds and speed stuff. So you have a few different options here if you don't have a machine file yourself. So if I go back, I want to kind of show you, we can do the same thing for materials, but more importantly is your tool libraries. So one thing that they've added that I really am a fan of is now they have the ability for session tools for your tools as well. This is huge in my opinion, because maybe I want specific tools for a job that maybe Cam Assist might skip over and choose a different tool. Now what I can do is I can bring in tools into my file, where before we really didn't need to do that, right? You just pick your tool library and it's going to use the tools in that library, or at least try to. Where now I can actually bring in tools into my session, into the CAM software, and then tell Cam Assist to specifically look at those tools as well. So I really am a fan of that. Now again, as you've seen videos in the past of me doing videos on Cam Assist, the principle still applies that the more tools that you give Cam Assist, the better the output you're going to get. Now that's extremely important, and we're actually going to see that in a minute in a example that I'm going to run for you. But just like in previous versions of Cam Assist, and like when you download Cam Assist, you're going to see that they're going to give you some sample tool libraries. And you can see these are pretty comprehensive. There's 263 tools in this one, there's 399 in this one, so forth. So we're actually going to circle back to this in just a minute. The last one I want to show you is import shop configuration. Here's where we can actually import tool libraries from other places on our PC. So you can actually see, you know, it's wanting you to aim for 15 to 20 files to really build a comprehensive library. This is going to get, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is actually going to get a huge update in the future. So we'll be doing a video specifically on this in the near future. Now, once we're good here, it's analyzed the part, we're good to go. Next thing we want to do is say go to prepare. Now, if you're already a customer of CloudNC and you're using Cam Assist, here's where things are going to look a little bit familiar to you, just with a different interface. Well, first look here at the top. Now, here's where we select the mode. This is like if I'm just doing a 3-axis part, or if I'm doing a multi-axis part, I'll select that here. Now for this part here, we are going to do a multi-axis 3+2 toolpath here, or setup. So I'm going to actually tell it user defined, so I can actually select the angles that I'm going to go through. The next one is we can select our machine, and all of these settings here are going to remember the last settings that you used, so it will keep that populated with whatever you used last. So as you can see, I've got the session machine selected. Next is material. Again, I'm using session material. And the last one is your tool library. Now this one's really neat because you don't only have to select one tool library. I can actually select multiple tool libraries. I can say, hey, use this built-in V1 inch tool library that comes with Cam Assist. I can tell it to use this one that I created, which is a Titan tool library. As you can see, it only has 13 tools in it. I'm actually only going to run it just so I can show you some differences in the output here in a minute. But I can select multiple tool libraries here, so that's really nice. The next thing is over here, we see our machine groups. And as you can already tell, it's already selected the work holding. I can see I've got 10 models selected in this machine group 1, and I've got 2 selected in machine group 2. So it's already seeing that from how I set the file up. The next thing you see is if I've got user defined selected here for my strategy, I get the opportunity to select my machining directions. One that I skipped over here is we also have avoidance geometry. So if we want to make models to like tell Cam Assist to specifically avoid these areas, we can do that as well. And again, if you're already using Cam Assist, you already know most of these things. So if we want to select our machining directions, I'm going to click this for my machine group 1. And if I tell it to only make machine group 1 visible, I want to do basically a 3-axis strategy from on this machine group. So I'm going to hide my stock here. Come back to machine group 1, and I'm going to tell it this face right here. Now I see an arrow here as a quick indication of which direction I'm going to be machining from. So that's the only thing I want here on machine group 1, so I'm going to confirm that. Next I'm going to go do the same thing for my machine group 2. So I'm going to turn on machine group 2, and here's where I'm going to tell it I'm going to do a multi-axis strategy. So I'm going to click the top, I'm going to click this back face. I don't need to do anything on this side, but I do want to look at this side and machine this pocket. So I'm going to click that face. I've got this angle here that I might want to look straight down on and machine that instead of surface milling it. So I'm going to tell it, hey, you can look at that face. So the last one I have is these holes inside of here, so I might want to look inside that face as well. So this is going to set all of my machining directions. So now I'm going to hit confirm. So now that is basically set up and I can actually start running this now. But before I do that, I want to show you we also have this advanced mode. Now here is some more screens that might be familiar to you CamAssist users already. Is I've got these new tabs now when I activate this. So I can go to roughing, I can tell it how much stock to leave for radial and axial. I can go over into my finishing, I can tell it a few settings here to do, like if I want to order by type or minimize tool changes, which is one I like to use. My deburring type, if I want to use ball mill, chamfer mill. You know, there's just a few settings that kind of get specific to the types of tool paths that you want to use. The last one here is on their parameters, is I can turn on and off things that I want CamAssist to write. So basically here, like if I told it I don't want you to try to do any tapping cycles, I can turn that off. If I don't want it to do any hole making period, I want to control that myself, I can turn that off as well. So a little bit more control here. I can tell it to use the presets for feeds and speeds that I've told in my tool library, or I can use AI driven cutting parameters if I've spent the time to set that up. Or I can tell it to do a mix of the two. I can tell it to get more aggressive on feeds and speeds, be more conservative. You know, here it's a little slider bar. But the main one I wanted to show you here is we now have this little checkbox here that says generate strategy comparison. Now, what this is going to do, if I've got this selected, it's going to take the calculation a little bit longer to calculate, but what it gives you the ability to do is basically compare different tool libraries. So if I have this selected and I go over here to my tool libraries page, what I can do is I say, hey, I'm using this tool library to do the calculation, but maybe I want to compare it to a different tool library and what the output would look like if I were to use that tool library, right? So maybe I want to compare it to this universal inch tool library that has 399 tools, right? So what I can do is come over here and I can tell it, check this. So now it will use that tool library as its comparison. So I'm going to go back here, and this is all that I have to set up here. So now I'm ready to run CamAssist. Now before, when I hit run CamAssist or hit OK, it would just start building toolpath inside my CAM software. It's going to start populating all those toolpaths and start generating those toolpaths. And basically I was given what CamAssist gives me, right? So here is where we start getting a lot of control back into the programmer. And I want to kind of take you through this because I thought it was really neat. Instead of it sending all of its toolpaths and everything that's calculating straight to your CAM software, it's giving you a little overview. It's doing everything in the background and getting it ready, but it's not going to do it until you tell it, hey, it's as good to send. So right off the bat, we can see that it has found 151 faces to machine. And it's telling me that I'm able to finish 129, but there's 22 faces still left unfinished. And it's telling me here, hey, there's some unmachinable surfaces. It's giving me a cycle time estimate and a total number of tools used. Now, remember here, I'm only using that tool library, that Titan's tool library that I created for this, which only has 13 tools. So it's telling me I'm using 9 of those 13. And that's part of the reason why it's not able to finish more faces, is because I'm really limiting it to what tools that it can use. So what I can do here is I can select this and I can get kind of a quick preview of some faces that it's not able to machine. Now I can tell that this is all on op 2, so I'm going to hide machine group 1 and turn on machine group 2 here so it's easier to see. And I can quickly tell here that it's these holes in the bottom of this that it's having trouble. So it looks like it actually was some counterbores on this op 1, so maybe my tool geometry is not really right to be able to finish that, but more importantly, it's just these holes on this op 2 that it can't finish with the tools that I've given it. We're kind of seeing a more comprehensive list, or if you will, of what we're able to do with this tool library and what we can't. Now certainly I can just send this to CAM package now and start building those tool paths, or I can exit back out of this and start to fix some of these things that it might be having trouble with. But I'm going to leave it alone for now. You know, for the purposes of this video, this is exactly what I wanted to do, to show you the differences here. Before I send it to the CAM package, here's where I, as the programmer, have a little bit of control of the output that it's given. Now see right here, I have a program tab. If I go over to this, I can see everything that CAM Assist is about to write out to my CAM package. Now, I can start going through this. Here's machine group 1, machine group 2, and all the tool path that it's about to write. I can see the tool that it's about to select, estimated cycle time, things like that. Now what I can do is I can click on this. Now this is machine group 1, so I'm going to highlight that. And I'm not seeing the tool path because it hasn't been written yet, but I am getting a preview of the faces that it's going to cut. As you can see, that's a face milling cycle. Next is a rough strategy on the outside. Now I can see I already don't like this. It's only rough, it's trying to rough the outside, but it's only basically going right below that chamfer. So what that's telling me is it's trying to rough that just so it can chamfer it. So more than likely on machine group 2, it's going to try to actually rough the entire outside. Maybe I want it to do that, maybe not. You know, maybe I want to actually rough and finish those outside walls on this first side and only do the other features on the second. You know, it's totally up to you. Next, it's going to rough these little counterbores, and then it's going to finish those counterbores, chamfer, drill, and then that's all it's going to do for side 1. But again, maybe I don't want it to rough this outside. I know I'm already going to delete that, so maybe I just want to get rid of it. So that's where this little tab here is. So what I can do is I can uncheck this, turn that off. Now CAM Assist won't output that tool path. So if I wanted to spend the time and do this here before it spends the time to calculate all this, I can actually go through this and kind of get an idea. If I go over here to machine group 2, I can kind of get an idea of what all it's going to do, and maybe I just instantly turn things off before wasting the time on trying to calculate this stuff. So that's where I said it's really giving you as the programmer a little bit more control than it did before. The next thing I want to show you is the strategy comparison. Now here's where it's comparing to that tool library that we chose earlier. So if I select this, now I'm physically getting a side-by-side comparison. So here's the tool path that we were just looking at, or not tool path, but program. And as I can see, I'm getting an 86% coverage and estimated cycle time, how many faces I'm machining, and it's comparing that to this other tool library here. And it's saying, hey, if you would have used this tool library, this would be the cycle time and this would be your coverage. So I'm actually machining 100% of the part with that tool library. As of right now, this is all I can do with this. I can only compare. Now they will probably be adding functionality to this as time goes on. So that's something that we really want to give a shout out to CloudNC with. There's a few companies out there trying to do AI software, but nobody is doing it like CAM Assist. These guys are so awesome. The whole team over there is really great people. They've got so many software engineers working on this that they're constantly coming out with updates every couple weeks on this. So they're adding functionality like you wouldn't believe at a really fast pace. So big shout out to CloudNC for that. But as of right now, we can just compare these two tool libraries and the output that we would get between the two. So I just wanted to quickly show that to you guys. So if I go back here, I can go in, like I said, turn things off as I want. But if I don't, now is the point, if I'm satisfied with all of this, now I can send it to my CAM package and start calculating this toolpath. So I do that with this button here, send it to my CAM software. Now, as you see, just like in the past, starts building that toolpath out. So guys, if you've been on the fence about this, I strongly encourage you to take that plunge, because when CAM Assist 2.0 rolls out, that price is very likely to start increasing by the end of the year. So lock your price in today, get started with this, because this is some really exciting technology. And if you want an in-person demo, make sure you come here to BOOMBASTIC in November, where CloudNC will be here, because they're teaming up with YCM to give away a brand new JC6. So check out the link in the description and make sure you get your tickets for BOOMBASTIC. And as this functionality gets released, you know that we're going to be making more videos on this, showing you exactly how all this works. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss those videos. We'll see you on the next one.